the main takeaway is that Obama's visit to Vietnam has been key to push and promote the TPP and its global relevance. Secondly, the visit has reaffirmed Vietnam as a hotspot for foreign investment. And finally, Vietnam's international image has drastically been reinforced after Obama's visits and how Vietnam is trying to get out of the idea of being the next China.
TPP, Oscar, a lot depends on whether the US Congress ratifies it. If they do pass it, what is going to be the net effect for bilateral trade?
Well, during his visits, Obama has highlighted both before the Vietnamese government and foreign investors that his willingness to have this TPP ratified before he leaves office, as this could be indeed a legacy-defining agreement for Obama's administration. It's also a kind reminder for Vietnam to implement and achieve certain commitments under the TPP in order to benefit from it. But why is the TPP so relevant for these two countries? Well, we know that the Trans-Pacific Partnership area has a market size of 800 million people. That accounts for 38% of the global GDP. But this agreement is also very important for both countries due to the fact that the two-way trade between the United States and Vietnam total some 35 billion last year. That's almost a quarter of US trade within Asia. What makes Vietnam the single largest Asian supplier to the US market, US already being Vietnam's biggest market for exports.
Okay. Oscar, you're quite right to point out the conditionality that rests on the TPP. There's a quid pro quo here. So domestically, when you look at the progress within Vietnam, is the government doing enough to relax restrictions on foreign investment? And what's exactly at stake here in terms of the grand prize, demand? There's a young demographic and there's a rising consumer class.
Exactly. Well, Obama expects Vietnam to become a vital economical and security partner in the US shift to Asia Pacific. Obama emphasized yesterday here in Ho Chi Minh that Vietnam is a part of a young and dynamic region full of entrepreneurial spirit, where you see new companies being set up every day, new jobs being created constantly, and the United States want to be a part of this. Vietnam is already a new and an attractive world player. I'll give you an example. I'm a Spanish lawyer working for a company that was founded in China, managed by an Italian, and that helps companies from all around the world get established in Vietnam. And that's what I tell my clients nowadays. Don't wait for the TPP. Vietnam is already a reality. There are several studies that estimate that by 2050, Vietnam will have the second highest annual GDP growth rate worldwide, with an average growth by 5.3%. But as I previously said, we don't have to wait until 2050. Vietnam is already happening. As you said, 60% of its population is within working age. And of course, Vietnam is located right at the heart of Southeast Asia. But what's more important is that Vietnam is implementing fair investment laws, like a new law on enterprises, new law on investment, and a decree on public-private partnership.
Oscar, last question, risks. I want to ask you this. What is the likelihood of Vietnam-US relations souring if there is a Trump presidency? What are the implications for bilateral relationships, in other words, on the TPP?
Well, Obama has also shown confidence towards Vietnamese production and achievement of high-quality standards, sending a message about Vietnam's potential for innovation to the world, no matter the TPP is passed or not. After signing and implementing the different agreements, not only the TPP, Vietnam has committed to include high standards, quality labor right reforms, environmental sustainability, and intellectual property protection. From now on, the country must target high-quality FDI and also try to make the projects using environmental-friendly technologies and use natural resources in a sustainable way. For instance, electronics and components are a large, if not the largest part of export from Vietnam to the US. This goes against the idea that Vietnam is only about low-end materials. Another important issue is how this, let's say, corruption is going to be a combat here in Vietnam, how people are going to combat corruption, because this is a huge deal here. And also in regards of China, where is China in all this newest scenario? Well, we can't forget about this giant. China is still the largest trading partner for Vietnam. This means that there is a hidden interest of ensuring that that China still grows and there is not much confrontation with the US. But Vietnam keeps looking at alternative blocks to get out of China's shadow.
Yeah.